couple of months ago, I left my original base in search of a slower life and some new scenery. It's been great so far, but I do miss my first home, and I've been trying to figure out how to live in both places. The problem is travel. It's about a 40-minute run between the two, and without Elytra, the only quick way back is by dying. Not exactly ideal. So, I decided it was finally time to get wings again. I loaded up on dirt, carved a pumpkin, and headed off to the end. My goal was to bring back 2 elytras, one to use and one as a backup. After a long bridge, I spotted my first island, and it had a ship. The shulkers didn't pose much of a problem, and within seconds, I had elytra again. But, of course, things didn't stay that easy. While searching for the second elytra, I made a pretty silly mistake. I took off my pumpkin head so I could see better while flying, and the moment I landed, an enderman took me out. Just like that, I lost everything. The elytra, my ender chest, my shulker shells, all gone. It was tempting to quit, but I told myself, if I'd done it before, I could do it again. So I went back. The second run was rough. I ran out of blocks, had close calls with shulkers, and at one point floated dangerously high, convinced I was about to die, until I saved myself at the last second with a water bucket. Slowly, I made progress. Another elytra, then another. Eventually, I stumbled back into the very ship where I had died. All my gear was still there, scattered on the ground. By the time I flew home, I wasn't carrying 2 elytras, I had 6. It was far more adventure than I signed up for, but I'm finally ready to fly again. And with that, let's get into today's build. This is a little village close by me that I'm aware of, but I don't come to very often. A lot of unemployed villagers here, and not many job blocks around for them. So I'm thinking I want to make this my village full of librarians. So I'm going to start giving them jobs. Maybe. What? Why did he not take that? Either of you guys? Oh, someone took it. There we go. And I want to see what we get. Unbreaking 1. Okay, well, I have Unbreaking 3 somewhere, so we're going to keep that. But I'm not going to re-roll these guys, so whatever we get. No book. Luck of the Sea. Nothing super cool, but we can always start trading with them and then see what other books they get. And we will slowly keep working on this town, and this will be our new librarian town. To help solidify this idea and hopefully actually get me to use it, I think I want to do a library build. I've been wanting to build a library for quite some time. Part of what's been holding me back is I just don't have it in me right now to design a build. But I don't need to do that. There are so many amazing builders in this game that have been doing this for a lot longer than I have. And one important aspect of learning is learning from other people. And I found this amazing looking library by a channel called Catline Crafting, which I'll leave a link to in the description. Wow, this thing is epic. When I initially cleared this area, I was imagining kind of coming through the trees here and seeing this thing hidden. But it is so massive that there's no hiding that thing. Need to redo the entrance, but look at this massive build. This thing is so cool. I love all the detail to it. That roof line right there is much more intricate than I would do. And then here as well, you know, like this type of thing. I'll do this. I'll have like one little section of depth, but higher up having a second and third, it just, I guess, accentuates the depth. So going up like that, it makes sense. Let's take a look at the front. Yeah, okay. So even on this entrance, there's 2 blocks of depth with extra overhang. But then it's all back a little bit. And I would not have figured that out on my own. So I'll be trying to remember some of these tricks and definitely coming back to look at this thing again for inspiration. And then even on the inside here, like this floor design, never seen one like that. I really like the roof actually. Just having these cross beams with slabs up top there. And then there isn't too much to the second floor yet. Pretty simple up here. And then the main other difference from stuff that I have built is just the sheer size of this. The footprint on the ground is big, obviously, but I'm wondering if the storage room I just built probably matches a footprint like this, but it's the height of this thing that is really like nothing I have done before. Obviously, when you build on a scale this big, you can get more detail in. Even if the scale doesn't match exactly what we have down here, it still feels, you know, it just feels like a grand building that I'm walking into, but it doesn't feel unrealistic, I guess. So we got the exterior done, and there's actually a second video on the Catline Crafting channel. I'll link that one as well. And they do a full interior on this thing. From what I saw, that looks super cool. It's definitely going to make this actually feel like a library now. Now it just kind of seems like a big epic building that could be anything, but once we get this interior done, it's definitely going to feel like a library. So let's go ahead and do that part next. The interior on this build might be even better than the outside. Take a look at this. Man, this is just amazing. The detail everywhere, but like the ceiling is really what's got me. All these arches and beams. I've seen stuff like this before, just stairs into trapdoor to make these all look like arches and pillars. And for some reason I've always been hesitant to do that because my thought was, oh, I can't just do that all the time because it'll look repetitive. But looking at this, it just adds so much to it and it doesn't look repetitive. But sometimes I like to do exposed beams. So if I don't do this, it's just, you know, a straight line across there and a straight line here. So it's just sharp 90-degree angles everywhere. And that looks just as repetitive, if that makes sense. Like I don't want to do this all the time, but then I do something different all the time that looks worse. So I definitely need to incorporate that type of thing. Also, this is really all the books that I have. In the video, they just kind of put random books in all of these bookcases, but I don't have very many books yet. Luckily, I have found a way to acquire books, though. Since I'm not killing cows, I can't get the leather, but if I buy bookshelves off of these librarians and then break it without silk touch, it actually turns into 3 books. So once I trade more with them, I can start to kind of fill in these, but that'll take a while. And then if we go up to the second level, kind of just another floor, more library, but just different from the bottom, more the nooks for studying off to the side, and then I guess separate ones over here. And then if we go up to the top floor, there's an enchanting room, which is amazing. Look at this. How epic does this look? You come in and it's just a kind of a grand hallway up to the enchanting table. I actually haven't had an enchanting table in this world for quite some time. Like months, actually, I've been without one. So now that I have this epic looking one here, I'm hoping that I will be visiting this area a lot more, because this is definitely the one I want to be using. Or at least the bar has been set. If I make a little enchanting area in the future, like, I gotta compete with this. The final thing I want to do for this build is obviously clean up my mess, fill in this creeper hole here, and just kind of tie it into the area better, you know, make some stairs going down. Probably going to focus mainly on the front here, but I'm just going to do a little bit more to tie this in. Here we go. That looks better. This definitely looks like an entrance much more fitting for a library. When I first started building these stairs, I was just using stone, but when I came to the bottom here, I noticed that the stone of the stairs and the stone of these walls here, it looked a little repetitive, and it kind of just like bled into each other, if that makes sense. So I couldn't entirely distinguish the two. Recently, I've been intentionally texturing a lot less. I want to make a build look good without texturing, and then use that to kind of make it look even better. So in order to do that, I need to just build without texturing, and then, you know, that makes me focus on other things. If I can't texture this to look good, I tried to make kind of just an interesting shape. And also you can use the natural texture of the vanilla blocks and color as well. Honestly, I've never built with tuff before. It's a similar looking color, but I feel like it's more bluish green and different enough that it doesn't just bleed into the other, and you kind of can notice a difference. And then by throwing in a couple of these, I don't remember the name of this, polished tuff of some sort, chiseled maybe. But just throwing a couple of those in there. I would still call this untextured, even though I used different blocks. And then the final little bits that I did, you might have noticed in the background. We got a library banner up top. I've seen people use banners in this way before, but I have yet to do it, so that was fun. And then I have done a bit of trading and ended up filling in more books in all these spots, which I gotta say, really adds a lot of color and variation and makes this look a whole lot better in here. And finally, I put a little sign here, Catline Public Library. I figured since the Catline Crafting channel was the one who designed this, we should name it after them, and I've decided to name this whole little town here Catline. Oh. Aww. The timing of that. That's the first cat I've seen here. Thank you so much to the Catline Crafting channel for posting your awesome tutorials. And thank you so much to you for watching today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye.